Peace, peace, peace. It's your brother Shemayala here. Alright. Want to give all praises, glory, honor, thanksgiving to Yahweh by Shalom Mashiach Yahushua. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Okay. Now, if you believe you of the elect, you know you ain't gonna come into nothing that's false. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna teach nothing false. You know, the spirit gonna bear with your spirit. You know what I mean? And reason why I say that is because, you know, you got a lot of these camps still continue to teach that Hispanics and Native American Indians are Israelites. Now, if they not Negroes, hell, then they not Israel. I ain't talking about Spaniards and Indians are not Israel, man. All 12 tribes are Negroes, okay? It can be proven with the fact that the religion of Buddhism was founded by black people that came out of the Assyrian captivity, okay? What you got before you is an article, all right? Got an article here called Black Buddha and the Israelite Buddhists, okay? It says here real quick, in this article we will identify the Buddha and early Buddhists as descendants of Hebrew Israelites. That's what we about to do, man. Okay? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Shema Mashiach Yahushua. All lies need to cease, man. It gotta end. Time to wake up. It says, it is not the intention of the information presented to encourage or promote the practice of the Buddhist religion, as it is extremely pagan. However, an understanding of the history of the originators of Buddhism will help us to better understand the historical Israelite presence and influence in the Far East. Okay? So this is all just an attempt to show you who the people were that founded Buddhism, just to show you that the Northern Kingdom that developed the religion of Buddhism were Israelites, man. Okay? And they were black people. And they still black people. And they have not changed. They have not waxed pale. Okay? Like some of y'all believe with that confusion of faith doctrine that, you know, if your bloodline goes back 10, 15, 20 generations from a Negro that's an Israelite, oh, he's an Israelite. Come on, man. Nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to deal with that as well. Because, you know, the confusion of faith doctrine is crazy. It's just out of hand. You need to understand that you got to be within a 3-generation time span, okay, you got to have Negroes in your bloodline within a 3-generation time span for you to be an Israelite. Okay? I'm talking about Egyptians and Syrians, okay, according to the law. Man, I'll deal with that another time. Okay, but okay, you got to understand, man. That's off. Got off subject, but yeah, these Buddhists that are Israelites were black people, man. Okay. Says, how do we know Buddha and his Buddhists were Israelites, man? We gonna see. When you understand the history, okay, you got images and maps and all of that, you come to a right estimation that these people are Israelites. Alright, perhaps unknown to the majority of people, the original Buddha and Buddhists were descendants of the Hebrew Israelites. Despite the many extreme pagan elements of the Buddhist faith, it remains a fact that it was a religion developed by Hebrew Israelite descendants who had migrated all over the world. A brief review of Israelite history will help us to better understand how there could possibly exist any connection between the ancient Israelites and the pagan Buddhists of the East. And let me tell you something. When you read Matthew chapter 2, talks about wise men coming from the East. Who do you think those wise men were, man? Okay, they were Israelites. But I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to deal with that. So a brief review of Israelite history will help us to better understand how there could possibly exist any connection between the ancient Israelites and the pagan Buddhists of the East. I assure you that after a brief overview of the post-Assyrian captivity history with the use of some visual aids and maps, it will be very clear to see that the early Buddha and Buddhists were indeed Hebrew Israelites, although pagan, Gentile, and spirituality. Black Buddha right there, man. Okay. Alright, so what we got here is a map of Assyria. And we see this is the path that Israelites took to get into Assyria. Okay. Now this is the same. Now when it was time for them to come back, okay, according to 2nd Ezra the 13th chapter, they did the same thing. They just crossed right back over the rivers. You know what I'm saying? Even y'all break that scripture down wrong. Okay? Because it tell you when I think 2nd Ezra 13 and 46, that in the latter time, okay, they gonna come back over the same way they came. Get it real quick, man. 2nd Ezra. Started 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, in the same region is called Ozareth. Verse 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come. Hold on. See, this is where y'all trip up. Now if Ozareth is America, the scriptures tell you in verse 46, they dwelt there until the latter time. Okay? But it says, and when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again. Okay, so he's going to stay the stream, the springs of the stream again. So what is he going to stay the springs of the Atlantic Ocean again? I mean, that's not what the scripture is saying. Okay, it says the springs of the stream. It's not, it ain't talking about no big ass wide ocean. Which proves your doctrine is false, man. Okay. Shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. Okay? So they gonna come back over the damn rivers, man. They ain't talking about coming through the... It ain't talking about going back across the damn Atlantic Ocean. Okay? Simple, man. That damn dummy doctrine. I believe that shit for a long time. So I'm saying, man, you dudes, man, you ever learning but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. So they came from Samaria and went into Assyria. Okay? So the majority of the Israelite Buddhists were the product of the northern kingdom of Israel's betrayal of the worship of the true God I Am. As a result of the adoption of the worship of new gods as introduced to the Israelites by King Solomon and the nations of his Gentile wives, the northern kingdom of Israel was removed from their homeland, the site focus of the Most High God, by the ancient Assyrian nation around 721 BC. Okay? It's important to know that. Okay? You nowhere in history you find Buddhism until after the Assyrian captivity. Alright. The 2 Kings 17, 22 and 23. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all of his servants, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. Unto this day, man. 2 Kings 17:6. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gazan, and in the cities of the Medes, man. Cities of the Medes, that's in modern day Iran. Okay. So in God, 1 Chronicles 5:26, and the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto Halah and Habor and Harah, into the river Gazan unto this day. Show me some Hispanics over there, man. Show me some Hispanics over there. Now you see this red line around on this map, man. That's the Assyrian Empire. And the yellow dots here is where the tribes were taken into. All the way over here, even into the land of the Medes, man, modern day Iran. Which would not be so far-fetched for them to just travel a few miles over into India and find the Buddhist religion. You know what I'm saying? All right. Second Kings 21:14, and I will forsake the remnant of my inheritance and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies. So you see here, Israelites. See, that's Israelites right there with the fringes on. Look at their hair. Look at the beard. They got divots. That's a woolly beard right there, man. Look at the locks. That's Negro hair. Okay, let me see here. See? Look at that. That's Negro hair, man. This is the Assyrian taking them into captivity. Okay? Stop playing games, man. Alright, it says, since both the kingdoms of Israel and Judah decided to worship the gods of other nations, the Most High God allowed the Assyrians to conquer the Israelites and take them captive in the territories under Assyrian and Persian control. There the Israelites could continue to worship the lesser gods of other nations instead of doing it in the Holy Land. See? Another map showing you they've been taken all the way over across the Euphrates River, the Tigris River, into the land of the Medes, and in the cities between these rivers. And some of them even migrated up towards the Caucasus Mountains, man, and went up into Europe. Okay? Like the scriptures say, man, the Lord said he would scatter you in the corners, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me get that real quick. Deuteronomy, man. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 26. I said I would scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. You see? And why would that happen? The remembrance of them. Because they will be called a proverb and a byword. You get that real quick. Okay? Now, Israel didn't literally cease from among men, the remembrance of them. They just were forgotten because they had their names changed. See, Deuteronomy 20 verse 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all the nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Okay? So when they coming out of their own land, they're going to be taking on the names of the Gentiles, okay, that they were being subjugated under. In the lands that, that they were sent to. So they wouldn't be called Israel no more. They'd be called something else. So that's how you got to identify Israel, man, when you're doing research on the lost tribes. You got to look for them under different names. Okay? Interestingly enough, the same paganism practiced by the Israelites in their homeland was continued in the lands of their captivity. The Israelites who were deported into Assyria and Persia, Media, were still worshiping the sun god Baal that they began worshiping in Egypt and Israel. Let's read this little reference here. And this is what I was talking about. They're going to be identified under different names. So you see it says here, Israel was also known as Sacae. Persian name for all Scythians, man. Okay? Or Gemiri. That's Babylonian way of pronouncing Sumerians. So you see that right there, Sumerians is directly synonymous with Samaria. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the same people. That's them. So that's what they would be called when they were taken out of Israel. Okay? So Gemiri is Babylonian way of pronouncing Sumerians, the name of the Scythians, tomb of Darius Behistan Rock. Or Bit Kumri, Assyrian name for house of Omri, stone or Simri, and Kimeroi, Greek names, or Masagate, same as Scythians. Thus Israel became the Saxons, same as Sakai, Ptolemy. So Saxons corresponds with Sakai, okay, and Scythians, alright? So and Scots from Scythians, and Simri, Welsh from Simri, alright? That's the Biblical Prophets for Today by Keith Malcolm Hunt, page 16. So you see all these different variations of names or proverbs and bywords that Israel was being called, man. Okay? Alright? Herodotus, the father of history, finds our acknowledged ancestors, the Cumbri, 450 BC, in the Crimea. That's, I think, modern day Ukraine. So, and traces them back to Media at about 600 BC. However, he expressly indicates that Media was not their land of origin. But Sharon Turner, the father of Anglo-Saxon history, takes up the thread and far down the centuries, and from Britain traces the Angles, Saxons, Danes, and Normans, all Simri, all Scots, all Scyths, all Syrians, all Angles of England, back to the Crimea, and joins them to the Cumbri of Herodotus and the Cumbri of Shalmaneser, you see? Because that's who took them into captivity, man. I'm going to read that again. But Sharon Turner, the father of Anglo-Saxon history, takes up the thread and far down the centuries, and from Britain traces the Angles, Saxons, Danes, and Normans, all Simri, all Scots, all Scyths, and all Syrians, all Angles of England, back to the Crimea, and joins them to the Cumbri of Herodotus and the Cumbri of Shalmaneser. Okay? So that's all the same people. That's the same people, man. Let me get that real quick. 2 Kings. 2 Kings. Where you at? 17, I think around verse 6. See, man. Let me see if I could search for it. Here we go. Yeah, this is 2 Kings 18:9. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hosea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Salmanassar, king of Assyria, came up against Samaria and besieged it. Okay? And at the end of the 3 years, they took it. Even in the 6th year of Hezekiah, that is the 9th year of Hosea, king of Israel, Samaria was taken. And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel unto Assyria, and put them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gazan, and in the cities of the Medes, man. Okay? So that's what Salmanassar did, man. Okay? He took them into Assyria, and all of these names that, okay, are associated with the nation of Israel are the same people. It says, we are called Simri or Kimri because our fathers were Baal worshippers. And for this reason, they were cast out of Simria or Samaria. Okay? Is this far-fetched? Come with me to the British Museum and read the tablet of Shalmaneser, who took away the 10-tribe house of Baals. Now, this is going to be quoted from Shalmaneser himself, man. It's proven to you that what he called them. So what he called them is directly correlated with the history that we're reading about, man. And that proves that, you know, who they are. The Qumri, the Scythians, and all of that are Israelites. It says, I, Shalmaneser, descended upon the cities of Chimaria, which is Samaria, okay, and took captive the Beth Qumri. I placed them in the land of Media. I left none of them. Okay? He said he left none of them, man. Now, I can pull this up from the book. Alright? That's from the Measure of History, Sacred and Secular, the standard scale of chronology founded upon science, properly so-called by Charles A.D.L. Lewis Totten, page 231. Let me pull it up. Most High will not find it, man. Here we go. From the same book, I'm reading it. Okay? Check this out. It says, I, Shalmaneser, descended upon the cities of Chimaria. Alright? And took captive the Beth Qumri. See, that's showing you right there. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Those Israelites are being called Qumri. All these different variations of that. You know what I'm saying? I placed them in the land of Media. I left none of them. Beth is the Hebrew for house. Qumri is the Hebrew for Baal worshiper. Okay? Now, let me read this over here. Alright. Show you some more. Give you some more info, man. Some more ammo for these naysayers. It says, thus Saxons are as literally called in Isaac's name, as it was predicted they should be, as they are called Christians in his whose type our father Isaac was. It says, we are Scythians from the city of Scythopolis, the ancient name of Bethshan, the city of the Scyths or wanderers at the southern extremity of Lake Gennesaret. Now that word is in the scriptures too. You know what I'm saying? And Scythopolis as well. I'm gonna pull that up too, man. Give you some ammo. Alright. We are also called Scots or Scots from being wanderers and dwellers in booths, right? Because, alright, I think that word Sakoth, some variation of that, means booth or tent dweller. And Sakoth is just 5 miles south of Scythopolis. Okay? The most ancient name of Syria was Scythia. Alright? And Assyrian or Scythian am I, said Jacob, Isaac's son, to Pharaoh. We are called Gales and Gales and Wales because we hail from Galilee, or we hail from Galilee or Galilee, which was the land of Gilead, and compassed just 3 places. We are called Simri or Kimri because our fathers were Baal worshippers, and for this reason they were cast out of Samaria, or cast out of Simri or Samaria. Okay? Now, it says here what? We are Scythians from the city of Scythopolis, right? Now, can we find that in scripture? Can we find that? Let's go to the scriptures, man. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a city called Scythopolis, man. Let me get Judith, man. Let me get Judith. Chapter 3, verse 10. It says, and he pitched between Geba and Scythopolis, and there he tarried a whole month that he might gather together all the carriages of his army. Okay, so, you know, it ain't crazy. But check this out. It says, 2 Maccabees 12:29. 12 and 29. From thence they departed to Scythopolis, which lieth 600 furlongs from Jerusalem. I did the calculation. That's about 75 miles from Jerusalem. I think going south. Okay. It says, but the Jews that dwelt there had testified that the Scythopolitans dealt lovingly with them and entreated them kindly in the time of their adversity. So the Scythians, man, they wasn't too bad of a people, you know what I mean? They show love, man. Alright, but it says here, verse 31, they gave them thanks, desiring them to be friendly still unto them. And so they came to Jerusalem, the feast of the weeks approaching. Alright. So you see, we got Jews dwelling in Scythopolis. Okay, where Scythians were, man. So you can see how it ain't too far-fetched how our people took on that name. Okay, according to the scriptures, we become a proverb and a byword among all the nations, man. Okay. Let me get another scripture. This to prove to you that we did become Scythians, man. Alright, this is Colossians 3 and 11. Where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Messiah is all and in all. Okay, so we became all these things, man. We became the Greek, became the barbarian, the Scythian. Okay, proverbs and bywords, man. All right, so I mean, it's clear, man. I'll deal with this in the next video. All right. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and I want to give all praise and glory, honor, and thanksgiving to Yahweh. Shalom, Shalom.